All right, we're moving on to our next theme, and it's region. This is going to go on page 34 and ultimately 35 in your notebook. Just like with the HEI video, I will tell you when to write stuff down and show you in the notebook. So the standard that we're working on is standard C, and that is explain how regions of the United States relate to one another and change over time. This theme of geography goes really well with HEI in 7th grade because a lot of the times we're going to have new people come to this new continent and they have to learn how to adapt to their environment. And then as they kind of expand and move across the continent, it's going to break up into regions, and there's going to be different issues and adaptations they have to make depending on where they live because of what the land's like in that region. The I can statement is C1, and it explains how regions relate to each other in the United States throughout history. First, you're going to write a definition of region on the top of page 34. All right. And it's just going to be a region is a location with like features. So I have a little video for you to watch that kind of goes into some more detail. You're going to answer the questions that pop up on Zaption as you go through this video when necessary.
From Evening. Studying the geography of a place will tell you about its landscape and where it's located, but also about the people who live there and the relationship between those people and their environment. Well, take the United States, for example. It's a big country, and the geography really varies, but we can talk about some major characteristics. So, where is it? Of course, we're talking about location. The U.S. is part of North America in the Western Hemisphere and in the Northern Hemisphere. Right, the equator divides the Northern and Southern Hemispheres. We can also talk about a particular region. In geography, a region is just an area that shares some characteristic with another area. Let's say you live in the New York tri-state region. Even though there are tons of different locations and people in that area, it still has a lot of things in common, like roadways, language, TV and radio stations, sports teams, weather, and so on. Region can be pretty specific or pretty vague, and an area can belong to more than one region. Like living in the New York tri-state region, you also live in the larger American East Coast region, as well as the temperate zone, which is larger still. By the way, region can also be cultural. For instance, you can talk about the Muslim world to talk about the region of the world where Islam is the main religion. Another thing to note.
Okay, so that video kind of shows us that we would be in the St. James region. It's a location with similar features. It's the city. But we'd also be in the Phelps County region, which is everything in that county has similar features. And it doesn't just have to be landforms. Like he said, it could be TV shows, radio stations, roads. We would also be in the bigger region of the state of Missouri, and ultimately the United States, and finally North America. And we could even go as far as Northern Hemisphere, Western Hemisphere, those types of things too. Now, we're going to get a little bit more specific with region. There are 3 different types of regions, and you are going to write these in your notebook. It's going to look like this. All right, I have my region definition from that first slide up there. Then I have the 3 types label, and then I've numbered each one of the 3 types. So I started with formal. I underlined the word so it's really easy to see. I wrote the definition word for word, and then I gave a couple examples. Okay. I will go back to those notes so that you can copy it easier. All right. So the first one you're going to start with is formal, and it is decided by official boundaries. So that's when I look on a map, I can easily see the lines that create that region. So the state of Missouri there are lines drawn on a map of the United States that shows me where that region is. Functional regions are places that have loose connections. So St. James, Cuba, St. Clair, yes, they all are in the formal region of Missouri. However, if we look at them a different way, they're also functional. They all are in that same sports division. They have similar geography, meaning physical geography, and cultural geography. They have a lot of the same value system, the same television, radio stations, because they're coming from Springfield and St. Louis. They're kind of all in that same area. So they could fit both types, but a functional type means that there's not a clear boundary line drawn saying this is the town line or this is the state line. All right, pause, copy those down if you haven't already, and then move on and I'll explain the third one. All right, the third type is vernacular, and that is areas seen as similar by most people. So these are commonly accepted regions that most people know already. So the Midwest is the one that we would be in. And so that's kind of that collection of middle states in the United States of America. New England, up by New York and Maine. The Middle East, Latin America. These aren't formal titles like that formal region. However, most people use them regularly. Copy this down. When you're done, replay the video. All right, with your shoulder partner, you guys are going to take turns to do a rally table, and you're going to use this sheet, this Venn diagram. You should only have one per each shoulder partner pair. So each table would have 2 pieces of paper because each pair gets 1. And what you're going to do with that in a rally table is notice in the picture that there is 1 piece of paper and 1 pencil being used. The boy would write, in this group, he's going to write something down, 1 thing. So he's going to fill in 1 thing. Then he passes that pencil, that paper to his partner. She fills in 1 thing. The trick is they're not talking to each other. They're not talking at all. They're just watching the other person write because you can't write the same thing. You have to write a different thing. And I will give you your timer for this. So let me give you an example and give you the prompt. So if it was my turn to go without talking to my partner's just watching so that they're trying to come up with one that I haven't written down yet, I might write in HEI, I might say, no boundaries. HEI is not determined by boundaries. Region is, however. So I could just write no boundaries in HEI, and then I pass my pencil and my paper to my partner. Maybe they got a clue from that HEI thing that I did, and they write over here in region boundaries. Or maybe that gives them something for both. So your partner's you're gonna help each other come up with more ideas. Your prompt is that you're comparing HEI and region, those themes. Okay? So here are the requirements. I might know 5 things I could write in HEI. I only get to write 1 at a time though. So remember, write 1, pass. Write 1, pass back. You are going to try to come up with as many as you can because you're going to have an individual task here in a moment. So 1 or 2, not okay. Come up with more than that because otherwise you're going to have to work harder alone. Okay, so let your partner help you. Let them help you come up with ideas. I think that you could do it for 2 minutes. I'm going to let you time yourself. So check the clock, find the 2 minutes. When you're done, move on with your individual task that I will explain. All right, your individual task now is to create a Venn diagram comparing region and HEI. Yes, you can use what you just created to help you. You need to pick your best 2 for each section. So you have to have at least 2. If you have more, that's awesome. It'll help you out later. But you have to have at least 2 and pick the best ones for that section. So it's going to go on page 35 in your notebook, and here's what that will look like. All right, I cut this out. I put it on page 35, and all of my foldable parts are up. So under the region, I'm going to write at least 2 things that are just for region. I have the both. I would write at least 2 things that both of them have. And finally, HEI, 2 things for that. You can have more. You want your best for each section, however. Okay, so use that rally table that you created, that Venn diagram in the rally table, use that to help you. When you are done, then you can put your notebook and stuff away. Here is a quick hint for you before you get started. All right. There's your hint. And remember, this task with the foldable Venn diagram is individual, so you should do it silently. You already had your chance to work with your partner. And thank you guys. Have a really great rest of your day.